call me cisgender because that's a made-up term. But you say that's cap. You say it's given. All these terms and concepts is terms that you ain't used back growing up. You see what I'm saying? So when you make the argument and say, hey, this language is made up, don't call me that, that's an insult, you feel me? To me, it's given that you don't understand how language is transcendental and that the way that we call ourselves African Americans in 2023 is not the way that they were called colored or Negroes in the 1960s. You see what I'm saying? We can acknowledge that language is always already changing and keeping up with the times. You feel me? The way that folks is pushing back on being cisgender, whether you are a biological man or biological woman, that's wild. You feel what I'm saying? To me, education being attacked is a result of motherfuckers trying to say that gender is biological when literally debating with biologists talking about biology. You see what I'm saying? You don't know what I mean? I'm finna break a video in.
This is episode 9 of Exposing Lies.
Hi, biologist. You said that flexing my credentials meant that I was probably wrong, and then you immediately go on to bolster your argument by flexing the credentials of the people you're citing. Pick a lane. Next point. If gender isn't biology, why should we listen to you? My friend, if somebody says something is basic biology, do you think that a biologist might know what is or isn't basic biology? Ridiculous. It's like asking your friend, hey, let's go to McDonald's and get some Whoppers, and your friend who works at McDonald's says, we don't make those, it's BK. And then you say, what do you know about Whoppers? You work at McDonald's. Then you quoted a book from a 7-year-old primatologist who illustrates that gender goes beyond biology and states in his intro that he's not touching on any human behavior that doesn't have an animal parallel. So that's convenient that if you just ignore the vastly more complex sociology of humans, that you can draw a stronger biological connection between gender and sex. Then you quoted John Money, a psychologist from the 1960s.
Pretty much you get the point, right? In conclusion, when we talk about distractions and all that, peep game, it's not the trans community that's passing legislation to attack women's reproductive freedom. You see what I'm saying? It's not the gay community either that's attacking black people in the streets, you feel me, and making them will be being highly incarcerated or facing these conviction rates. So when you think about distractions and who's targeting who, you see what I'm saying? I think the most masterful way that, you know what I'm saying, the cream supremacy work is to make people infight about what's going on amongst them, about birthing terms and things like that. Meanwhile, on the outside, they politically, socially, and economically knocking us upside the head. You know what I'm saying? Hey, education is elevation. And listen, I'm about to end the video. Let me end it like this, though. I can be very conscious of the way society has played black women and trying to always already negotiate your femininity and your womanhood. And I recognize that it seems similar, you feel me, when trans women say that, hey, they're women too, or talk about periods. You see what I mean? And listen, I'm not trying to invalidate nobody's feelings at all, but when you're wrong, you're wrong. And right is right and wrong is wrong. And listen, don't say that you down for right and knowledge and truth, and then when you face to face with truth, you still turn to a blind eye and say, I say what I want to say and I feel what I feel, and basic science is basic science. And it's like, that's not really how that works. You know what I mean? Education's elevation, research and research. I'll holler at y'all. This is a picture of Michelle Diane Peacock, a 59-year-old black woman who was taken away from us because the person thought she was trans. Yes, you heard that right. A cisgender woman was taken off this earth because a man suspected her of being transgender. As reported by Fox 59, the dude that did it to her, his name is Earl. Earl told investigators that Peacock was a male acting like a woman, implying he believed incorrectly that she was trans. Earl went on to say that he would do it again. The point of this video is twofold. The first one is to acknowledge the dangerous climate that we create when we use charged language about trans identities. The second one is to acknowledge the intersection between trans homonegativity, misogynoir, and how that leads to bad things for black women. Misogynoir is a term referring to misogyny directed towards black women where race and gender both play a role. The term was coined by a black feminist writer, Moya Bailey, in 2010 to address the misogyny directed towards black transgender and cisgender women in America and popular culture. The intersections of misogynoir and trans homonegativity make it where even First Lady Michelle Obama is not immune to how people want to play with black women's femininity based off of how you project them being masculine or unwomanlike. A lot of folks don't know this. When we start talking about the notion of being a real woman, most arguments that we make against trans women not being women is the same arguments that white women made against black women when we start talking about how we equate womanhood to European beauty standards and what it means for white women to be positioned in a womanhood, which usually excludes black women, both cisgender and trans. When we have different media outlets and politicians talking about trans people as being public enemy number one, it creates climates that lead to things like this. And just like everything else, we know who's going to be disproportionately impacted by the harms and climate that's created that makes this type of actions rational. Education is elevation. Research over me search. Hey, and be a better person you are today than you was yesterday. Amen. It's sad to see my community beef about being trans or a real woman when this society don't give a damn about women, whether you trans or not. An example is damn near every black celebrity woman has been targeted for being too masculine or not feminine enough. Or I'll try a different way. One of the first lessons I learned about gender discrimination was sexism and how reducing women down to body parts and organs was a fundamental component of sexism. I was also taught not to limit womanhood to being a mother or reproduction, because not only are there women who can't have periods, there are also women who struggle with fertility or just flat out don't want to have kids. I learned about how all this by standing for cisgender women, and learned about how I'm implicated with depression against cisgender women exclusively, because I never understood or knew anything about the term cisgender when I was like 19 years old. Some might disagree, but we can stand and take up for all black women, both cisgender and transgender. They're not mutually exclusive. It's not a first choice. I've been an advocate for women's rights and trans rights since I was 17 years old. What I've learned is that trans exclusionary radical feminism folds back into misogyny and patriarchy that can be weaponized against all black women, all women every day. For me, because I learned, researched, and debated over these concepts first, it was easier for me to understand and recognize the humanities of trans women. I hope this caption or this video and collection of tweets help at least one person think about these issues from a more humane and educational lens. And the attack on education is working masterfully when we got people in our community beefing about terms like cisgender and having periods. Meanwhile, you got Supreme Court literally taking away reproductive freedom from people in our community. And that identifies with the gender I was assigned at birth. I don't feel threatened or offended by trans men at all. Also, trans men have periods. Man, this gender illiteracy is really baffling me. And just for the people in the back, the definition of cisgender is when you identify with the gender you were assigned at birth. Definitions are definitions and facts over feelings. I want to contextualize my points further. We know that Serena Williams, Sierra, Michelle Obama are called men on a regular basis. It never makes sense for cisgender black women to be transphobic and fight side along those who don't think they're real women either. And listen, I know it's going to be folks that want to debate in the comment section, but there will be people that want to learn. And for those that want to learn more and go more into depth about these issues, go to this page right here. Check out this video right here. You know what I'm saying? Not only do I disagree, this is a very heteronormative understanding when it comes to disclosure. It comes with a lot of privilege and a lot of expectation with protection. You feel me? It's a whole bunch of trans people you can read. I'm talking about going way back to like the 70s, the 60s and shit. They're going to tell you about the complex nature of disclosure. If you meet a fine woman or man in the club and you trying to holler at them, you buying them drinks and you trying to get a drink bottle or whatnot, if it come out they are trans, they didn't trick you. You feel what I'm saying? You like them. You were attracted to them. It's on up to it. You feel me? Ain't nothing wrong with that either. Ain't nothing wrong with you being attracted to trans people. All it is a lot of y'all have a whole bunch of insecurities and be embarrassed and ashamed about what you like because, the world tells you ain't supposed to like that shit. And that's what it come down to. You feel violated because you've been exposed and you recognize now your desire sexually is something that you've been told not to like. And in conclusion, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When it comes to your idea of disclosure, it's so arbitrary you don't recognize that whether a trans woman discloses on day 1 or day 1,000, they still gonna get knocked off. You feel me? Listen to the cap in his rap. Listen to it.
You talking about T. Nathan. Listen, I would, but I'd likely get banned. Trying to make it a point of staying away from that community, if you know what I mean, on this particular platform anyway, because as they have shown, they'll likely report most of your shit. They can't take a joke or criticism. They'll probably lie on you, and they're always the victim. Not to mention, he don't have no dog in the fight. Homosexual men have a tendency to pander to black women. They can never do any wrong. It's a pointless conversation. Him, Conscious Lee, Travis CX, I Speak, they'll never answer a direct question posed by me, but they'll always claim they're ready for a debate. You don't want no smoke. If you go back and look at any of my videos, no question that I have posed to them has been met with a direct answer. But I give my folks what they want. So here's a couple questions, and you can send this entire video to his ass. 1, do you support and endorse homosexuality in the black community, and if so, why? 2, do heterosexual parents provide the best environment for a child to be raised in? And 3, how does homosexuality itself benefit the black community? Tag his ass.
Number 1, how you gonna claim we don't want no smoke with you, but every time we try to debate you, you have all these trivial ass preconditions for me to turn you upside down and intellectually mop you with your locks on the floor? Number 2, instead of you trying to slick ass go back and forth to run up some engagement and views on your page, how come you gonna just ask me this in a live debate? Number 3, every question that you ask me smelled like some of that fragile ass masculinity concerning the gay agenda. You know, the one when you feel emasculated? Number 4, when you deployed that old high school ass subliminal shade trying to call me and T. Nathan homosexual as an insult, that's the reason why you be getting reported, which brings me to number 5. How was you gonna talk shit about That's the reason why y'all can't take any joke, and I'm always getting reported in the same sentence saying we trying to play victim. You playing victim. Which brings me to number 6. You got some nerve talking about playing victim, and then you ask me 3 questions that obviously correlate homosexuality victimizing the black community. Do you endorse homosexuality? What is homosexuality good for in the black community? Bring that ass here, man.
Unconsciously, Travis CX, I speak. They'll never answer a direct question posed by me, but they'll always...
Number 7. Why you grouping me, T. Nathan, and I speak together making these lies? I know for a fact the guy with the red beard ain't never challenged you to a debate because he only gonna cuss you out. Number 8, he asking me about the black family. Y'all remember when I drug him in this video right here where he made with the whole chest about how he not gonna protect black women if he feel like they putting themselves in danger? How is that beneficial to our community, black men, those clauses for protection? Number 9, though, let's get back to them weak-ass questions you pose. Here's what Huey P. Newton, the real revolutionary, will answer your question. That is not endorsing things in homosexuality that we wouldn't view as revolutionary. But there is nothing to say that a homosexual cannot be a revolutionary. And maybe now I'm injecting some of my prejudice by saying even a homosexual can be revolutionary. Quite the contrary. Maybe a homosexual can be the most revolutionary. That's what Huey P. Newton said. Number 10, I know the way I answered your question is going to go over your head, but when you respond, let me know when you want to get drugged on YouTube. If I speak first to last too. What's up, man?